In trimming in half-inch increments, which is common in parallel tip steel shafts, the butt diameter will remain constant and ensure that the grip sizing is the same throughout the set. Now, this is only possible by the long parallel tip section to allow the shaft to be still inserted into the hosel after cutting it shorter. If we look at the bottom diagram, this represents graphite shafts. You'll see that the parallel tip section is much shorter than the steel shaft. Therefore, you can't be as aggressive at tip trimming and still expect the shaft to fit into the hosel. Therefore, many graphite shafts are trimmed in quarter-inch increments instead. In trimming in quarter-inch increments, or even butt trim only, which you might find some shafts, we are progressively taking more and more off the butt end on each club as it becomes shorter. And in certain cases, you can actually feel the grip size becoming smaller. We said that the tip trimming controls the flex. Well, looking at the anatomy of the shaft, the tip is smaller in cross-section than the butt end. By tip trimming, you're actually removing the most flexible portion of the shaft, which will make it stiffer than removing an equal portion from the butt end. Therefore, tip trimming is what controls the flex to offset the additional head weight. The butt trimming is usually devoted more to the length rather than the flex. As we said before, the concepts and procedures are logical once we learn how to use the shaft trimming charts. But where do we find them? Number one place you can find them is at the shaft manufacturer's website. They'll usually give you a link to where they could be found. Second, component companies will either place this information in their catalog, on their website, or send out a piece of paper with each order to tell you what the trimming instructions are. Lastly, the charts and nomenclature may be different from each manufacturer, but the results should be the same.
I'm sorry, Jeff. There's a, I think somebody else had used, I'm going to try to mute him right now. Sorry about that. Just keep going. I'll try to fix it on my end.
Okay. Now, Hireko doesn't believe in sending out a piece of paper with each order. This helps to preserve our trees and cut down on greenhouse gases. Rather, we have the trimming instructions in 3 different areas. The first place is located inside the inside back cover of your 2009 Hireko catalog. And this is whether it's in the print or the PDF version that you can download off of our site. Also, on our website, you can click on the Support tab. And under there, you'll find golf resources, and there'll be a link to shaft trimming instructions. This is in a PDF format. The nice thing about this file is it's bookmarked, so you can easily sort through the different manufacturers and find it fast. And we also have under golf modules an interactive trimming guide that you can sort shafts by the model number or the product name. And we encourage you to use both of these useful tools. Okay. For the print and PDF catalog, you need to first locate the shaft you will be trimming, and that's going to be in the shaft section. On the far right-hand side of the specification box, you'll see a header saying trim chart. And again, from component distributor to component distributor, it may be different, but it works the same way. Everybody has their own method of obtaining the trimming instructions. But the trimming guide or trimming chart may say G, which indicates which trim chart to use. Or it may say G followed by a number 1. The numbers after the trim chart indicate the trim notes. This is where you want to place Simon Says. Only do what is stated for each shaft. Don't do any more. Okay. Next, we locate the trim chart in the back of the catalog. You find the row on the left where it says G. Okay. And let's say we want to trim for a 5-wood. We locate the column at the top, and where see where it says 5-wood, where the 5 and the G meet, that's how much we tip trim. And in this case, it's 1 inch. It's just that easy. One important note is to look at the club head numbers and the row underneath for the approximate head weight. Why is this important? We'll realize that the shaft manufacturers are making raw, uncut shafts for club manufacturers to use in their products. Club manufacturers are free to determine or establish their own standards. They may have a different standard head weight and length they produce their clubs. No bigger example can be found than in the hybrid category, where there's more variation in recommended lengths and head weights, and this is directly related to how it is tip trimmed. So please pay close attention to that as often as manufacturers will publish their head weight, or you as a club maker can weigh them as well. You may also experience certain exceptions to every rule. For instance, on Hireko's Power Play Cayman Raw Power 3-wood, the head weighs the same as a 5-wood, and that's by design. Therefore, you would tip trim by the weight rather than the name engraved on the club head. Lastly, we pay close attention to trimming notes. Again, only use these if the directions tell you to. Look at the highlighted areas on this screen. In Trim Note 2, it applies to one and only one shaft in our entire catalog.